I don't think it's a secret that Deadpool and Wolverine is sweeping the box office off of its feet right now and absolutely crushing its competition, and rightfully so. There is a good chance that as you're watching this video, I am actually in a movie theater rewatching this because honestly, I cannot get enough of this movie. There will be spoilers for the movie in this video, but if you want something Deadpool and Wolverine related that doesn't have spoilers, go watch my previous video where I break down the fact Deadpool and Wolverine is not the Marvel Jesus Kevin Feige wants it to be. Getting back on track, this movie was great and teaches us a lot about how a movie can be made. Because I'm not going to be the first to admit this, but Deadpool and Wolverine has some really thin writing. And as somebody that loves to dive into the plot of movies and analyze character, you might think I'm disappointed by the movie. And the weird answer is kind of yes, because I think sacrificing plot for jokes is just highly unnecessary and stupid, but at the same time, Deadpool and Wolverine actually makes it work in its favor, and honestly makes it okay the story's plot is super thin. Deadpool and Wolverine understands its audience and what each person would want out of it to make it the best experience for everybody. But let's start off with this. Deadpool and Wolverine teaches us how to take advantage of simplicity. Remember, the like button is always there for your use and subscribing is always appreciated. And with that, let me know what you thought about the movie in the comments. And lastly, this video's goal will be 250 likes. The X-Men franchise has always been a series of movies with some detailed writing and trying to capture emotion. And for some of the movies, it really works. Like how we take example Logan, which is widely regarded as one of the best X-Men movies ever made. Whereas if we take a look at Deadpool 1 and 2, the series has always been about making edgy yet funny jokes that a lot of them talk about sex, but a lot of the funniest go after different ideas. But after two movies that had a lot of heart to them in the form of finding love and creating a family, Deadpool and Wolverine is actually incredibly, refreshingly different, yet at the same time still feels like the same Deadpool we all love with the jokes and the slapstick gory fights. If we break apart the multiple different cameos in this movie and them defiling Wolverine's grave for money, literally the first scene of the movie is my latest obsession right now, and Bye 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 is one of the most replayed of the year for me. What we get is not a movie that is written on recreating Spider-Man No Way Home's excessive yet entertaining cameos and references, but a movie that clearly has a passionate team that wants to write the biggest and best love letter to the Fox universe and X-Men as a whole, as it respects its legacy entirely, but still being able to laugh at it from time to time. What is so inspiring that more movies need to be like is letting the audience get what they want, because it's clear the team behind it knows what the audience wants, and that is Deadpool and Wolverine. And I know that's a stupid thing to say out loud because that's the title of the movie, but isn't it actually really nice to get a movie where the title fully represents the thing you paid for? Honestly, if I was going to describe the plot to a friend, if they asked, I would literally say the plot of the movie titled Deadpool and Wolverine is Deadpool and Wolverine. It's simply that simple. The movie doesn't need to have an extra something like Deadpool across the Deadverse or Deadpool into the multiverse of deadliness, but also it knows that the movie wasn't just Deadpool 3. And seriously, by the name of the movie, it literally helps it in every way. Something I disliked about Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness is that there was barely any multiverse or madness in the movie, and in doing so set up a whole expectation with the title that didn't translate to the movie, whereas Deadpool and Wolverine, I hate to repeat myself, is that simple of a title that goes a long way to help manage what the audience can expect and get excited for. I think I should probably mention the actual movie a bit to back up the fact the movie's plot is just Deadpool and Wolverine. So there isn't too much to say other than it's like a funny buddy cop movie, but I will bring up how they treat the multiverse in this movie, because to be honest, I think that may have been the most complicated part of the movie. You see, in Loki, the entirety of the multiverse is explained, and as someone who only watched season 1 and doesn't have any plans on watching season 2, because honestly I can't remember a single plot point from season 1, going into this movie, I was a little worried that I wouldn't understand it. But to the movie's credit, it actually helps the audience out on this concept. This movie is probably one of the first Marvel movies you don't have to do excessive homework about unless you want to have a bit more of an emotional connection to the characters. You don't really need to watch the movies that lead to this, and that's what this movie thrives from. There's a part of me that thinks from the start they knew this would become one of the biggest R-rated movies ever made. And they knew that they could not lose people on this multiverse concept. So they explain it in a way that makes perfect sense, even if it takes away from the believability that the TVA wants to save Deadpool and him only. Now, what about the cameos? Earlier I said that it wasn't really something that was trying to copy the way Spider-Man No Way Home did it. Honestly, when Gambit walked out and I had no idea who that was, I didn't really care as much. But the music and the two others walking out was already so crazy because they actually returned, and seeing Gambit, I couldn't help but smile a little bit because I knew that from whatever movie he was from, it was not well received and that he fully deserves this cameo. The writers have to be some of the smartest when it came to that because they made each cameo a big deal. And they weren't just small cameos, but a crucial part of the movie. Like Chris Evans returning was pretty funny to be a Fantastic Four character, but he didn't immediately die after he fell to the ground, but he actually in the movie for a little while. And allows the writers to show the true power of Cassandra Nova on him to make her just a bit more threatening. So the fact they weren't just like a walking cameo and actually became a character for the movie's benefit was so nice to see. I think it's really sweet that Ryan Reynolds clearly loves Deadpool and was willing to do anything for this movie, and him telling Disney themselves that the multiverse saga was failing was something that felt so good to hear. And also, may I just say, actually felt like the people behind it actually cared, because we all remember the final episode of She-Hulk where they criticized Marvel, but if someone was going to do it right, it would have had to have been Deadpool. I can't wait for the future and where Deadpool goes after this, if that ever happens. There are a lot of great things about the movie, and I want to emphasize again that simplicity is one of the key reasons why this movie works in so many ways. To add just one more thing, I would like to just say that simplicity is not always great. A simple movie can often be pushed aside as lazily written or just plain boring. But it almost seems that Deadpool and Wolverine was made that way to prove a point and to not overcomplicate things for the viewer, and allowing them to get what they want so everyone on the car ride home is listening to Like a Prayer, reflecting on the fun time they just had, whether that was with family or friends. And I think that is something that makes Deadpool and Wolverine truly special, truly something deserving of being the summer movie of the year in the best ways. Thank you everybody for watching. I'm Enchanted. Bye.